Hey Shooby Doodlers, how are you doing? I am nearing the very end of doing my first kind of has-draw book all on my own, which I'm going to be doing on Kickstarter. So I'm sort of designed and doing the whole thing on my own, which has been, quite an investment in time. The one thing I've learned about Kickstarter is it's very different from traditional publishing, where a publisher will give you some money to tide you over while you actually kind of do the artwork. Kickstarter, you really have to have kind of made the investment in time and effort beforehand and kind of be really ready to go to the presses. So now I've got about 3 pages to go, and I thought I would kind of share with you kind of my process of how I'm working these out. Obviously, this book is really aimed at sort of primary, elementary school age children who are studying ancient Greek in school, that kind of thing. So sometimes I'm looking at these drawings and think these aren't terribly kind of professional kind of drawings, but that's not the point. It's making them easy to copy and to draw. That's the whole thing about the kind of drawings that I'm doing in this book. So I have to keep reminding myself I'm not trying to do beautiful, fantastic drawings. I'm trying to make them simple and make them as easy as possible to draw, but not too simple that they kind of look babyish or anything like that. So I want sort of somewhere in the middle. So let me take you over to my recording station over here. This is where I do my videos. These are my light boxes. This is the camera that I'm using. This is the table where I kind of work. And this is what I'm going to start working on. But let's not talk about it. Let's do it. You can see I've been doing a lot of artwork for this project. And it comes on all sorts of different sizes of bits of paper. Thin paper, thick paper, all sorts of stuff. That's a lot of drawing I've been doing. But what I'm doing today is there's this page, that page, and one more page. And then I am finished with the insides, and I just had to design the cover and the title page. So what I'm going to do here is I've got pan, and I got here harpy. I think it's with a Y, or I've got to check that out. And this is going to be centaurs over here, which I think is a much more complicated drawing, so I'm allowing a sort of a full page on that because you've got human and a horse kind of all in the same thing. You may remember I did Pegasus earlier, which was a horse, so it's going to be kind of different but similar to that. So what I'm doing first of all is I'm getting a sheet of layout paper. This is about 50 grams per square inch, so this is really nice and thin. So it's almost like tracing paper, you can see through. And I've done my first kind of preliminary sketch of what I think I want pan to look like. And now I need to kind of work it out, make it a little bit easier to draw and kind of make it more definite. So to help me in my endeavour, I'm going to use my light table, my light pad. If it's not full brightness, it kind of flickers in the screen, I think. If you want to know more about the light pads and things, I did a review of this model so go and click up here and find out more about that. Thinking in terms of shapes, really, and how I'm going to explain this, because I have very little space in the book to actually explain how to do things, and I have to really break it down into sort of really, really simple little kind of movements, really. Steps, I suppose, is the word. So now his shoulders are going to be about there, aren't they? So I think it's probably going to be more like that, I think. And then we want his sort of panpipes like that. And I might make them a little bit shorter there so we can see more of his face, which we can't quite see at all at the moment. And then he's got to have this sort of muscular body, and we're going to give him this sort of furry legs, and they're quite weird creatures because they don't quite conform to it being a goat, so they sort of do, but it also has to kind of look possibly human. So a goat would actually have this bit here, the femur in a goat would be much shorter, and this, the tibia, is it? I don't know. Don't trust me. Would be a bit longer. So we have to kind of make him look, this bit here down to the knee, we have to make that look more human, and then we kind of carry on with the goat bit here, and then so
And again, it's kind of making it easy. That's the tricky bit. And I suppose that's my particular job here. So sometimes I kind of finish one of these drawings and I think, oh, I could do, I could draw a much better thing than that. But it's not about the drawing itself. It's about the showing how to do it and the making it simple. It's about the simplification. So I have to keep reminding myself that it's not about how clever I am. It's about making it nice and simple. So I think that's sort of getting there. Now this probably looks terribly wasteful that I'm going to get another sheet of this paper. But in fact I'm going to use this. I kind of use one, I'll use one, and I'll use another one, and I'll use another one on top of each other to refine and refine and refine. New battery. So I'm thinking I'm going to put the horns back there. And because it's for children and this is a half-naked kind of person, I'm giving him a nice sweet expression as he's blowing across his panpipes and making sweet music. And all these little things like hands, which are just so difficult to draw for anybody to draw. You see, even me, there we go. Well, I find hands really, really difficult to draw. So hands are really difficult to draw, and so it's kind of trying to make it simple as well at the same time. That's still not quite looking right, but anyway, see how we go. So that's going to no, I want this to be a bit lower, about there, so we see more of his face. So it's this kind of refining process. Right. Oh, maybe that goes in a curve, and then we're going to get some kind of stitching kind of thing, hold it all together, aren't we, there? And we're going to want to see the bottom of the pipes there. I'm thinking we'll have his hair coming kind of around his face like that. He's blowing across the pipes like that. Actually, those pipes are all completely the wrong angle, aren't they? So in fact I was kind of right the first time, I think. So yeah, and then we want to see the tops of them there really, and then we can go there. That makes more sense. That makes much more sense, I think. And then we're going to get that shoulder coming out across there. So we can give him this kind of woolly hair, goatee kind of hair like that. And then, yeah, and then we want him to have this kind of he is a god, he's a Greek god, so he needs this kind of superhero kind of physique. And then we'll start the knees round about there, and I think that's pretty well got him there. So now I think I'm ready to do a kind of an ink version of this. I'll take the underneath one out so it gets a bit brighter. I think I can zoom in for this. So he wants this kind of curly kind of horn like that. I'll put little dots in there. So when I come to do the kind of the pretty version that I'm sort of painting, then I do put more detail in it. And the bit that I'm showing, saying this is how you draw it, then there's a little less detail. It just makes it a bit simpler. And and if you look at the drawing, then you can go, oh look, I could add that bit if I wanted. So it's kind of making it simple all the time, thinking how can I make this simple, but at the same time give a little bit of extra to aim at in the kind of the main illustration, but then in the main illustration not like making it look so difficult that it puts you off in the first place. So I'm trying to do a lot of things here. There, and then we're going to want the thumb. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, possibly 6 there. Dots in the middle. And then these are going to come down there. So that will be the long one, and then that would be a bit shorter. And we want them kind of strung together like that. Then we can bring the hair down there. maybe a bit more hair on that side, and then that's the kind of into the pecs. Those are the pecs rather, aren't they? And then we want this kind of hairy furriness, and this will come around to there, and that will come to there, and then we need to add some kind of fur effect, as it were, and more in there, and then I can hardly see what I'm doing here, and then we can come down into that leg, there we go, and then we can do this one here as well, just like that. And I think we're going to need a bit of kind of abs in there as well, and I'm going to add a little more hair coming down here, I think. There, yes. I've got some disgusting water here. I really should have gone and cleaned it for you, I suppose, but I've just been using it and using it. So I'm getting a little bit of Naples yellow there, and sort of paint him in there a bit, and his arms, a bit more Naples, and then into his body as well. And then I want to kind of, oh, I'm not sure, that's not quite right. So I want to look more tanned, I suppose. So I'm adding, I don't know, I'm adding all sorts of, bit of orange, a bit of burnt sienna, and I've gone over the edge here, but I'm not worried about that, because, you know, this is a production thing, and I know I can sort that out in Photoshop later. So this isn't designed to put on a wall. This is designed to go in a book. So I know, you know, I know there are things that I can fix later. And I get a little bit of red in there. That's Scarlet Lake. And a bit, certainly on his bottom lip like that. There we go. That top lip doesn't quite look right. There we are. So I'm just going to blend that in there a bit. And then while that's drying, then I'll move on to the hooves, I think, which are right down at the bottom here. So I'm kind of partly kind of hatching with my pen in a way, just to pen. This is not a pen, it's a paintbrush. When I used to be a sign writer many years ago, I used to get confused because sign writers call their brushes pens, and there are some paintbrush manufacturers will still call them pens. Well, they might have changed now, I don't know, but they certainly used to, which I found very confusing. I think that might probably go back to the old days when, I mean, you still can get brushes made from quills, and certainly when I was sign writing, and I got a couple of brushes just recently that were made from quills for sign writing brushes, and we used to actually name the brushes according to the bird that the quill came from. So a swan would be a great big brush, and a crow would be a tiny little thing. And in fact, in penmanship as well, a very fine brush, very fine pen, a very fine nib, is called a crow quill because it's made from a crow's quill originally, and would keep a very, very fine point. So I'm going to have this kind of similar colour up here for the horns. I'm really aware of, in doing this book in sort of ancient Greece, you know, everybody's obviously got, you know, sort of suntanned and the Mediterranean sun, and you know, everything's made of wood, and I've become really aware that it's a very browny, kind of ochre coloured sort of book. So I've been trying to introduce a little bit of colour when I can. Although, yeah, when you look at originally their statues were all kind of painted, weren't they, in all these amazing colours. A little bit of sepia, I think that's probably what I should have used here. And now I need to get that dry. I'm having thoughts the whole time. It's so different doing a book this way. Normally, if I'm working with a publisher, it all gets kind of planned and planned and planned to fine detail, and then you sort of execute it. But here I'm sort of busking it because I mean I did my major big plan right from the start, but you know, and I'm completely in charge. So, you know, I am the project manager, so I know what's going on. So it's been much more page to page, sort of character and thing that I'm drawing to another. And so I can sort of make changes as I'm going along. And as I feel, you know, oh, maybe it's, you know, as I said, you know, oh, this book's going very brown, let's get some colour in there. So, you know, one of the formats that I've been doing with, like, characters for gods and things like that is doing one particular little detail on how to draw the head and the face, and then assuming now you know how to draw the face, so let's do the body, and you can just draw the face on top, because I've shown you how to do that. And but this is now, I'm just realising this is looking slightly different because he's got the pipes there. I'll see if I can get a little bit of extra space on the page and just squeeze in how to draw the pipes on their own. So that would just be an extra thing because I haven't got pipes in the book, and that would be quite an interesting thing to have. So I think he's got to have similar kind of grey hair, and that would get me away from brown or blonde. I think most of the characters are sort of blonde, brown, or very black hair. Yeah, so grey would be a bit more interesting, I think. And then we need to think about the pipes, and they're going to be brown, aren't they? Because they're made of wood or whatever they are. Reeds. Maybe they could be stitched together with a little bit of red. And again, I don't want to paint it so miraculously. I want to paint it simply so that, you know, a child or even a grown-up who might, I think some grown-ups might eventually find their way to this book wanting to draw Greek stuff, you know, teachers or whatever, and wanting to show the children how to draw things. I don't want to make the painting so daunting and perfect that you kind of think, oh, I can't do that. I just want to think, oh yeah, maybe if I have a go at that, then I could do something like that. So I suppose in illustration, in the world of illustration, then, you know, it really depends on kind of what you're doing it for. And so each illustration, I mean, in the old days we used to call it commercial art, I think, and that's exactly what it is. You know, so it's art for a purpose. For a commercial purpose, and so my commercial purpose is to get it in a book, and then the book has its own purpose to, you know, show how to draw things. Illustration is not about drawing pretty pictures, it's about telling stories, it's about showing and explaining. So you have to keep reminding yourself of that. And so, you know, it's a tricky thing, because for one thing you want to have, you know, your own personal recognizable style, because that's how you will get hired as an illustrator, and people like, you know, that individuality. That's what draws you to your pictures. You know, if you're just drawing a generic kind of picture, then it's, you know, people have seen it before, so people want to see something different and something that's stylish and something from you, but at the same time it has to do the job that is being asked of it. I'm wittering, aren't I? As a working illustrator, you know, we use hairdryers and things like that. It's a business, it's a production process, and so you want to get on and dry things. You know, you can't hang around waiting for things to dry. I can work out there's a basic kind of shape going on there, and that's going to be our pan pipe, and we've got hands. So this is trying to make it as simple as possible, breaking down kind of what is going on really. And then I'm going to put a circle there, and a circle there, and a circle there, and a circle there, and then we have the hooves are just going to be this kind of triangular, well, it's a rhombus really, isn't it, I think, coming off like that. And again, I thought really long and hard about, should I be doing this kind of thing in, you know, should I be doing it in a graphic design kind of program and make it absolutely perfect like you see generally in how to draw books? No, I'm not quite happy with that bit there where that's going over the top, so I'll redraw it. And So there is quite a lot of redrawing goes on. Then I can take that to there, that's better. And it's redrawing and refining and refining and refining. I know that's something that puts people off. And they want to just do it. In fact, I don't know if it does put people off. You know, when I was younger and before anybody told me anything different, and I don't think anybody did actually tell me anything different, I had to find it out myself. I just watched so many movies where, you know, artists and they splash some paint around, pow, there you go, and it looks fantastic. And you know, sometimes you will get you know, a kind of an artist who's a bit of a performer as well, and they'll come up and they'll draw something or paint something on the telly, on the TV, and you think, wow, that's amazing. What you don't know is the amount of practice and rehearsal that they have put into doing that, and they probably painted that very picture several times before, and they know how to do it and get all the effects quickly, and you know, and it's a performance. And so I kind of always assumed, you know, drawing is a performance, da-da-da-da, but it isn't. It takes time, it takes care, it takes thought, it takes practice. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a 1 there, so that's my major one, and I'm going to choose this colour here. So I'm using Polychromos, Faber-Castell Polychromos. I put these on my 6 favourite things to put in your stocking, Christmas stocking thing recently. I like these because they're quite hard. You know, there are other coloured pencils which they crumble quite quickly and they have a sort of texture to them. Polychromos have a really good consistency to them and a firmness that you feel you can press without breaking it, without them crumbling. So now what I'm doing is drawing the whole thing again, but so that I can start building on top and showing how it all comes together. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to, when I've finished this, I'm going to put it on my Patreon page. So there's a link up here.
I thought you might like to know that I've actually made a PDF download of the finished thing of Pan and his pipes. So if you go to my Patreon page, you can get a free copy from it there and see what else I do on Patreon at the same time.
You can go to the Patreon page and you can download, I'll let you download a thingamajigamy of it so you can see it and try it out for yourself. And while you're there, have a look at all the other things I'm doing on Patreon. I'm going to be doing a lot more on there soon. I'm going through this big transition at the moment. But if you want to kind of support me on there, I'd be most grateful, and hopefully I'll be providing all sorts of new and interesting stuff. So I'm going to assume that you know how to draw the face, because I'm going to show you how to do that and another thing. So now I'm thinking, in fact, that I ought to kind of do that. Which is what I'm going to slightly adapt it. And then we'll have the horns coming out from under this line of hair there. Then we can do that. So we've got the head in there. I'm trying to think, what is the most important thing to draw first? I think it's going to be the hands. So that's what I'm going to suggest. So we're going to do that. And we're going to do that. And I want the thumb there. So I don't want to show you how to draw the pan pipes just yet. And is there something else? I'm trying to think. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm having to think ahead. So I think also at this stage I could show how to draw the body parts. So we can do that. And that can be there. And I'm just going to draw that so that you're just seeing this part of it here. So the next one, we want to know that we've done that bit. Oh, I don't know why, I'm just having a little moment. Sometimes when I'm sort of drawing things, I get these little flashbacks. I can't remember quite where I was. It was in Germany somewhere. maybe it's because there was a picture on a wall or something in a restaurant. And it's just sort of come back to me of of pan or something like this. Maybe that's what made me think of it. So, but it's just making me feel a bit hungry because I remember having a great big sausage and stuff in a restaurant in Germany. And it's making me feel all and so right, that's the bit that I've done, and then that's the bit that's under there at the moment. So we've got that's there, and so I need to show in purple the bits that I've done already, but I need to keep showing where the construction lines are. I'm going to leave the legs till last. I need to draw that bit in, and I also need to draw the furriness in the back leg as well there. And I think this is where we also put the pipes in. I think I'm going to be doing another, as I said, another little drawing showing you how to draw the pipes. So this will come down there, and then we want something to stitch them together like that. We need to show how to draw the body as well. So I'm going to say draw the, so that needs to come there, that needs to come there, that comes down there, and then 1, 2, 3. So now I can do this final one. And again, there's, using a purple coloured pencil, well, I'm using all sorts of different coloured pencils, obviously, for different things. But using a coloured pencil, I really did think about, should I be doing this in a computer drawing program? And whereas that would make it look slick, it in the end I thought, no, I'm going to do it all like this, old school. It doesn't matter if it's a bit jiggly, it makes it accessible and makes it look feasible. Like you think, oh well, that's just done in, I could do that. So I don't want to make it look too clever, and I think a lot of art is about trying to look clever. And us artists, we have terrible egos. We want the world to love us and think that we're all amazing and whatever. And so it's quite difficult damping down the ego, and you have to keep reminding yourself, it's not about me. It's about the book. It's about the person who's reading the book. I think that's always a good thing to remember in any kind of book or you want to write, or not even that, any piece of work that you're doing. Some work you do purely for yourself, and so it's for your own learning and education and things. But if you start doing work and you think, I want people to buy this, I want to sell this, then you have to think about the person who is going to buy it, and it's for them. And it's the same with writing a book. It's not about you as the author, it's about the reader in the end. So at some point you have to let go and think, this is not for me. So now I'm going to do this thing here. So that's going to come up to there and then just curl around. So again, I'm trying to simplify these shapes, and that will just curl around there. Good. We're going to need to add in a little bit of fur, and I did put the what. I wonder what else I need. Is there any last thing that I have forgotten? I don't think so. That's what I'm going to use for the thing, and now it's time to go and scan these drawings. Oh my goodness, can you believe it? I forgot to turn the microphone on. So what's going on here? You may remember I mentioned earlier that I could tidy the whole thing up in Photoshop, and this is what I'm doing. I'm just cleaning up those little bits where it kind of went over the line. Some people get very funny about that. I am very well aware that Photoshop is hideously expensive. I hate paying them every month. There is an outfit called Affinity, and they've got a Photoshop kind of thing and an Illustrator kind of thing, and I'm waiting until they come out with their publisher thing very soon, and then I'm going to see about migrating over to them. And whereas I'm paying about £40 a month in the UK for Photoshop and the other Adobe programs I use, theirs are a one-off payment of £40 for each program. So, and they look really, really good. So I'm really thinking of moving over to those soon. And when I do, I'll probably show you all about it on here. Now, here are the scans of the little drawing things, the how-to drawings that I did. And so I'm just marking that out, and then I'm going to put it on its own little file. And so I'm going to put that on its own layer. That'll be on the bottom layer. Then I'm going to go and sort of mark up, outline and copy and paste all the other 3 drawings on top of it. So they will all be in their own separate layers. I make the top layer a little bit transparent, so I can jiggle it about and get it in exactly the right position, and then make it 100% translucent again. When I've got the basic layer in there, then I really want to make it paler, because I say make it pretend you're drawing in pencil. And so I get a brush with grey on it and I set it to lighten, so that it's not affecting the white, but it is affecting the black because I'm lightening it. Now here are all the pages of the book. Then, having saved those designs, I can now paste them onto the right page. And then I can bring in and paste onto the page those the how-to stage drawings, and they're quite big at the moment, so I'll select them all and make them a little bit smaller. Here you are, 1 or 2 would have been desperate for me to get that spelling mistake right, and there's probably 1 or 2, but that will all come in the edits. Down at the bottom, I decided to put the pan pipes down here, so that has its own little thing, which gives me 3/4 of a page for a centaur, which is about right, I think. And then next I'll do the harpy here. And so here we have the finished pan, and I think I'm just going to put a little thing saying that's why they are called pan pipes! Exclamation mark. And then I can put the text in up there in much smaller typeface. Just make the type a little bit smaller. Something like that, and just pop that in there, I think. There, or maybe there. Then I'm going to come back here, I'm going to copy that arrow, and I'm going to stick that arrow in here, and spin it around, and stick that in there. I could have spent hours making that arrow, but it's easy to go and copy it from where I've done it before. I'm just going to move that down a little bit there, and then I can move that down there, and I think I can make that just slightly longer. There we are, that'll just fit in a bit more better. There we go. That's why they are called pan pipes. I'm going to collect all these elements up, and I'm going to create a new document, and I'm going to bring all of that up here. Ooh, it's having to think about this. So I'm going to take that away, and I'm going to put that in there, so that this can come down there. I can put that on there, and then I think we need to measure out roughly how big this is going to be. So now I am going to turn that into pan PDF. So I've made that into a PDF, and I'm going to make that available as a download on my Patreon page. I'll make it free, so you can go over there and see what I'm doing on Patreon, and you can download it and print it out and have a go yourself. If you do, why not go over and have a look at my Facebook page and post your version on it so I can have a look. I've just noticed that, look, all those mistakes that I made haven't been erased. So what is going on there? Originally it was a JPEG, and I saved it as a PSD with a Photoshop thing. So there we are, that's the finished, proper cleaned up version. There we are. That was a lot going on there. I hope you enjoyed that, and if you did, keep coming back for lots more stuff about drawing and things like that on the Shoo Rayner Drawing channel. And in the meantime, keep drawing, practice, and I'll see you next time. You take care now. Bye bye.